Welcome to For Real Watchers Radio Show, worldwide live, with the best experts as guests. And with your hosts, Jerry Dean and Brett Warner. Expect bone-chilling and heart-pounding stories of paranormal, ufology, supernatural stories, and breathtaking encounter after encounter. Join us as we dive into the abyss of the unknown. Every Friday night, 8 p.m. Central and 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the best paranormal network, Paranormal King Network. Dead between your eyes, pulling no punches. We'll see you on the other side. Be prepared for anything. Weak hearts dare not enter. Hey, good afternoon, everybody, or rather good evening. Welcome to another episode of For Real Watchers Radio Show, coming at you live every Friday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Paranormal King Radio Network. I am one of your hosts, Brett.
And I am one of your other hosts, Jerry Dean. And we've got a pretty good show for y'all tonight. And yes, it is nighttime down here in Texas. And Brett, I'm pretty sure you're an hour ahead of me, so it's got to be dark there. But now we got a lady up in New York City. And I'm pretty sure her climate's a lot cooler than ours. We talked about it earlier. But hey, without further delay, let's get her on. Brett, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, absolutely. Like Jerry said, somebody from New York City, a medium, a Reiki master, also co-host of shows on the internet. Where's My Sage? A Taste of the Universe. I talked to her about an hour ago, and she's got a huge resume, Jerry. What do you think? I mean, we're going to cover a lot of stuff. She's also into some TV stuff, and anyways, this is Kristie London. Kristie, you there?
Hi, hello. Yes, I'm here. How are you?
I'm good, Kristie. How are you this evening?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So, we got a couple people in the chat room. A lot of people listening in right now. So what's going on up there in New York City? Like Jerry said, it's probably a little cooler up there, isn't it? What's going on up in the...
It is, and actually, I'm actually from Western New York, so I'm actually from the Buffalo Niagara area, Erie County, Niagara County area, and so it's we're getting there. You know, the Buffalo weather. You know, during the winters, we're known for our winters, and it hasn't been too bad this year, and we're finally getting the nice weather. We've had some rain, but we'll take it. We've had 80s, 90s. So around here, that's really good news. It's really what we're looking for. So
I think what we'll do, we'll give you the floor. Like I said, I know ever since you were 4 years old, you got into this. I mean, a Reiki master, which I'm interested in. You're a medium. You're a paranormal investigator, I know. You're a co-host of your own show. Why don't you tell everybody listening a little bit about yourself, what got you into it, and what your real area of expertise is out there?
Wow. Well, I keep talking about myself. So, I really didn't have a choice with getting into this because I was just born this way. I've since a very young age known that I was different and known that there were things going on that I couldn't explain. And as you tend to be on your own, because there are a lot of people out there who come from families who know it, acknowledge it. Mine did not. And so I had no idea until I was older. And, as you grow and you're kind of on your own, you learn to adapt and adjust. And as you watch TV and talk to other people and whatnot, you kind of start figuring things out. But, after a while, you just kind of start working with things on your own. But it took me a while. I was a young mom, so that really wasn't my focus. I just, by high school, became comfortable with who I was and just being who I was and, doing what I needed to do, if that makes sense, the best that I could at that age. And, just kind of adapted to the fact that I had to just be myself, whether that got me,
So you mentioned, you had to adapt. So what exactly abilities did you have back then? I mean, what were you noticing from a young age? I mean, because I know you were like seeing the spirit, feeling people's emotions. I mean, is that kind of correct?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, to this day, I'm still teased by my uncles and my, family. I have a very large family, especially on my mom's side. And, I'm still teased for being wild one and the hyper one, and always had a pitch of a fit when I was young. And little did I know that was because I was an empath. So for those of you who don't know what that is, it means I can feel things. So I was either sucking in the emotions of everybody in my family, or they were sucking my energy out, or I was picking up on spirit that I didn't even know was there at the time. And it kind of sends you into an emotional overload, and it's really overwhelming because you can't explain what's going on, and people chalk it up to different things, like hyperactivity or ADD or just, kids who need to learn to focus and pay attention, and that just wasn't the case. So, but you don't know how to, say, hey, I'm angry all of a sudden and I don't know why, or I feel drained and I'm tired and I'm crabby and I wasn't 2 minutes ago. And, so it's just a lot, and every environment's different. So other things that would happen when I was young, I would see things with my eyes, but I didn't see, people walking around who weren't there. I didn't see things like that. What I saw were splotches of color, or the air would change in a room. So the whole room would look clear, but maybe one section of the room would look like I was, looking through the fumes of a charcoal grill, where it gets real wavy and thick and plasmic kind of. And so, I would see that physically and then feel like a pressure, like I was being watched, or people were around me, and almost like it was bearing down. And I knew I wasn't alone, but there was never any like middle piece for my brain to connect it all. So, those are some of the big things that happened. Yeah.
And just over time, you learned what they were, and you've been studying it ever since, trying to strengthen them, refine them.
Yeah, so, and I also got used to people not being able to give me answers, so I kind of just knew I was on my own and had to just deal with it. Even if people wanted help, they couldn't, so I didn't tell a lot of people for a lot of years.
I see. Man, a lot of stuff. I'm not sure where to start. I mean, so when you go on, so you said you were in paranormal investigations. I assume you apply your medium skills during that?
Yes. Absolutely. And that could be a little tricky, because when you're on an investigation or like a public tour where things are kind of set, when you have a medium, I'm a firm believer that you really need mediums and investigators to work together. But at the same time, I'm also a firm believer that as human beings, we all have these gifts. Some of us are just more naturally open to them. Some of us are just, able to tune into our psychic, or more naturally connected with our psychic ability, which is our intuition, which is our gut feeling. The mediumship goes a little deeper. It's not that it's better. It's just that you have to learn to open up or be more aware, connect in that deeper way, so that spirit, people, or, animals that have passed can connect with you and you with them. So it can be tricky because, you can be on an investigation and, spirit will talk to me, but they won't make any of the equipment light up, and people who are there to see the equipment light up, are very disappointed. And I have to say, I know this is not as fun as it would be if we saw the lights go off, but spirit's answering this question and this is what they're saying, but it also helps me in different investigations, and when it's not public, when it's something that somebody is calling for because they need help, or if it's, just more, hate to use the word professional, but more experience, where it's not just general public, where get together with other investigators and mediums who are more experienced than most seasoned, they'll say, to lead into, just be open to wherever spirit wants to draw you, or wherever the building or the place wants to draw you. So it's quite interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I see. And I might as well ask you this before anyone else does. So, and I know it'll end up going this well. So you do paranormal investigations. What are some of your more interesting ones? I mean, have any of them scared you? Like you don't believe they were actually, how should we put it, spirits? Or, I mean, any of them just like you're better off not being there? I mean, anything very terrifying?
Yeah, there have been a couple, but actually my most terrifying experience was actually doing a private party for somebody locally, because I do that. That's part of my business, and going to people's houses to actually give group readings and private readings and things. And I knew this woman's husband was having issues, and she had asked for help, and I really was not given a heads up on much more, and I felt comfortable going there to do a party, so thinking that everything was okay, but always being protected, and I, always preparing no matter where I go and what the situation is. That's just what we have to do. And I walked in, and as soon as I went into the room that she wanted me to be in, it was like I walked into like a lair. Like I knew it was evil, and I don't like to throw that word around lightly. It was one of the very few times I've ever encountered anything that I knew if it could get to me would hurt me. And so it was not fun, and I had to, my spirit guide stepped forward, and I felt my angels around me, and I really just talked to this thing and said, listen, I am, I'm here to do a job. I'm not here to mess with you in any way, but this thing stared me down. And it was like with every person that came down to do their private reading, it got worse and worse. It's like I was in a bubble, and with everyone, it got smaller and smaller and smaller, like you're on borrowed time, sister, and it was just crazy because by the time I was ready to clean up and get out of there, it was literally chasing me back up the stairs, and I was like, couldn't get out of there fast enough because I knew we had a pact going on, and that was about it.
In your opinion, what do you believe you were dealing with? I mean, I don't like throwing the word demon around too much. Seems like everyone does, but you never know.
Exactly. And that's why I say that. That's why I kind of let off that way, because that word is thrown around, and the word evil is thrown around way too freely. But in this case, it was because I knew there were issues before, and we already were suspecting that it was maybe an incubus because her husband was having problems. And it was an incubus-succubus situation. And so after 2 days after the party, I got a phone call from her telling me her husband was actually attacked in bed. And so we ended up calling in a demonologist to help clear her house. Yeah, so it was one of those situations. You can have bad, you can have negative, where we will say, oh, this is so evil just because it's a negative person. But in this particular situation, that was my first real taste of, you have to remember there's true evil out there, like by definition, because that's what you're here to do, and you're here to do certain work, and you have to remember that from time to time. So it was quite interesting. And then there was another time where I was actually, and nothing really bad happens. They follow me. They find me. That's what the really evil stuff does. I was actually pushed off my back porch right in front of my husband. That was quite interesting because I was actually really hurt, and it took me a good day to recover from that because I hit the concrete so hard that it was crazy, and the look on his face was priceless.
Have you ever found yourself, Kristie, have you ever found yourself in what you felt was, discerning, and as an empath, you obviously feel what's around you, but have you ever found yourself like literally in maybe life and death situation, like in harm's way?
Well, that party was the best example I can give. Yes. And there have been times where, I've been to Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. That's a real famous one, the old Dandy House. Dan Class owns that. He's a friend of mine, and, worked with him for a bunch of years now. And, you go to different places and I got my start with paranormal investigating at the Statler in Buffalo, the Statler City Hotel. And when you're working in an area where you're familiar and the different locations and the energy, you know what to expect, but that doesn't mean that it's never going to change or that there are not other things around. So, there was a time when I was I was at the Statler, and I was with other seasoned investigators, we'll say, and it was not open to the public. They opened this up to everybody who was helping to run tours and loved the Statler and helped to keep things going on that level. And so we all just were able to enjoy the building on our own and do our own thing that night. And there were a few of us who went into a place that we normally go to on one of the floors, and there was a very, very negative feeling there. And we all just looked at each other. There were three of us and said, I don't like this at all. Like, this is totally different. This is something foreign that's not usually here. So, you have to know and be confident enough to know you can handle whatever's going to come your way. But you also have to be humble enough to know what your boundaries are. Just because you can do something or you know something or you think you can do what you have to do doesn't mean you always should either, So, yeah.
What would your advice be for our listeners out there, that anybody out there that's never had any kind of an encounter, if they should ever run into that feeling of just something around you just isn't right, or should witness something? What would you tell them as far as your solid advice?
Always trust your gut. Your gut is your intuition. Sorry, I started to cough. Your gut instinct is your intuition. That is what your spirit guides you to help guide you. That's what spirit, anyone who's passed from this life on to the next, uses to help guide you, to get your attention. If your gut says something is not right, even though your eyes in your head are saying, no, this is beautiful. It's all, roses and butterflies. You get out of there.
I believe that.
Always. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, I believe that to be true, but we also know how people are. Assuming you're by yourself or something, trust your gut. But you're in a group of friends, I've actually done investigations when they're in there taunting evil. And it's just, people don't,
No.
people, yeah.
And that's you can't just walk into a situation and just start doing whatever you want. It really does bother me when people go in, and just start thinking they can. And paranormal investigation, ghost hunts and tours, they're really not a game. You really don't understand what it is you are looking for. And even, doing tours at the Statler and doing tours in other places, people will look at the investigators and they'll tell them one way of doing things or what they need from them or what they expect. And then as a medium, I have to then put my 2 cents in and say, okay, we can't take anything from this. Don't even joke about telling spirit, oh, come home with me. It's okay. Oh, come on. You can, because they will follow you in a heartbeat. You can't, people don't realize it's not a joke. And I always tell people, be very careful what you wish for, because you will most likely get it. And you will open a can of, can I swear on your show?
That's true.
Question for you, Kristie.
A can of whoop up. Yeah. I was like, my kid's a ticker for me that says explicit language because I have a potty mouth. However, you'll invite things into your house or into your life that will blindside you and you won't know what's going on. And so you have to, but whether you're a medium and you're working with people and you're giving private readings or doing group events or parties or whatever, or you're doing public things, or you just don't do it at all, but you want to participate, respect and consideration always. Respect and gratitude. Those are the 2 biggies.
See, that's
that along with trusting your gut are the 2 things I teach my students the hardest. If you don't have that, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, and you never know, too. People go, there's so many. We've joked about it on past episodes. So many people are going out on investigations and doing this, and everybody thinks they're an expert. But if you think about it, it's almost as if, like, you got to get your hair pulled or you got to be thrown down steps or pushed down steps before you say, well, it was a bad experience. We're talking on a spiritual thing. I go out to an area and I'm taunting or I don't know what I'm doing. That could account for bad things going on in my life later.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And I don't even think people realize that. They're thinking, okay, I go in and do this, or I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm taunting, and I wasn't pushed and I wasn't choked and I didn't have my hair pulled, and it's just another night, but it's the things that come later. Something attaches to somebody and you don't even know it. It's even somebody,
even taking things, people will want to take, oh no, they won't miss this little paper or this little trinket off the desk that's been abandoned for 25 years, but you have no idea if something's attached to that object.
And it's kind of funny.
Bring that object home. It's the same thing.
And there's people, I know some, I'm not going to bring up names. Me and Jerry's had people on this show that are out there doing investigations. And Jerry, you probably know a couple of them who I'm talking about. Their life is just chaotic, drama, horrible.
Oh, yeah.
And they don't even, it's like, well, we didn't do anything wrong. And you just don't know what's going on. I'm talking death too in the families and maybe a car accident or just horrible things going on a personal nature. And, you just don't know. I don't want to get off topic too much. I'm just back up for 1 minute. Kristie, we had a question. You mentioned the Statler Hotel. What makes that active with spirits? Do you have any history on that?
Oh my gosh, there's so much history on that. Actually, I am able to channel one of the many spirits that do reside and or visit and or choose to be there, because I only encountered maybe a couple of spirits myself, which doesn't mean that that's the be all and all. That just means for me, that are not crossed over. More than not, spirits are crossed over. They just have gone into the light. They just choose to remain or go back to certain places because they loved it. It made them feel good. Maybe it's their way of taking care of it, whatever the case is. But there is a spirit there of a young woman on the 8th floor by the name of Mary Jean Carlo. And basically the short of this story is that she used to live in Batavia with her mother. And one day she went up to the Statler and checked in for a couple of days. She ended up taking the bus back to Batavia. She had lunch with her mother. She returned by bus to the Statler Hotel, where later that day she jumped out the story window of her room. And a few years ago now, probably 4 years ago now, I was up there with some people, and she truly channeled through me to the point where I was in somebody else's space, and it was all her. And I am able to do that. So I kind of just pull myself back and allow them to function in me and through me. And that's actually how I was invited to be on Destination Zero when they came to film at the Statler, because somebody there had witnessed this and knew what I could do, but just never saw me work in that way before, which was pretty cool for me. And,
that's cool.
Again, it's a very special way for me to help tell their story and to do what I have to do, because, I always tell people, as mediums, we don't just do what we do to help the people who are left behind here in life. We do it to help spirit too. It's not always, even private readings, they're not just about helping you. They're about helping spirit do what they have to do as well. And you never hear about that other side of it, So that's pretty cool. So I'm able to do that. There's been a lot of suicides there. There's been a lot of, there was a firefighter years back too, I want to say in the 40s, I believe, a little bit more modern, and he perished as well. There's just been so many performers. Elvis used to go and rent the whole 7th floor. I believe it was the 4th or the 7th. Sorry, it's been a while. But they, and the entire floor was his. But every time he went there, and the only men allowed on that floor were his bodyguards. Every other staff member and everybody who came up to take care of him and look after him during his stay had to be female.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, there's so much.
And another quick question, a little off topic. Somebody who knows your history a little bit. George wants to know if you still practice dentistry.
What?
He wants to know. Yeah, he wants to know if you still practice dentistry.
Well, George, that is a little off topic, but hey, go ahead.
So no, since I have opened up my own business, we're going on, good 7 years. I stopped practicing. I am a registered dental assistant in the state of New York, so okay. I can practice expanded function. But no, I have not. But yeah, no, that's interesting, and I'm not connecting with a George, so I don't know if this is an old patient of mine or somebody else.
Well, hey, we do it all on this show, and now apparently we really do it all. I mean, hey, now for the next story, the story of the haunted molar.
Yeah, maybe George
in the possessed dentist chair.
George,
oh my God!
If you need a dentist, George,
that's
put
funny.
it in chat. I'll definitely point you in the right direction.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. No, as of right now, I am not working in dental. I'm sorry, George.
Well, George, we'll get you a spiritual cleansing on them teeth, bud. All right. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
A little sagebrush. Come on. Oh my God. we get all kinds of questions.
It's all good.
Yeah, I think he knew you had the history in it. I know you used to do that, so yeah, that's probably where it came from. But
yeah, that's right. It is in my bio. Yeah,
it's all good. So, anyways, yeah, Reiki Master. What? Tell us a little bit about that. What got you? Is that just something you felt you had the gift to do, or just something that interested you later in life? Or I know who you trained with. You put it in your bio, and I don't know if you were friends with them. Or tell us a little bit about that. What got you into it? Or but everybody out here, tell them what Reiki is exactly, because I know it's gaining popularity.
Reiki. Sorry, what was that last part?
No, I said I know it's gaining traction here in the States. It's just getting more and more people are getting into it, and they're even starting to practice up. I don't know if insurance is covering that yet, Kristie, is it?
It is. It is. Actually, it is. Yeah, you're right. It's, once upon a time, nobody even knew what that was. Now, even if they've never experienced it themselves, they at least have heard the term. And what Reiki is universal life force energy. It's one modem of many of healing. And so that did kind of hit me over a period of time, or gradually, it was in my head, and, because I have other things going on, or I did at the time, and, other things I had to focus on, like kids and the husband that was away for training and blah, blah, blah. So, I can't really take on anything else while I'm trying to do every, balanced life and my new business. But I would always feel my whole life like my thing is I've always wanted to help people. That's what I knew I was put on this earth to do. My purpose here is to help people, whether it's in dental, whether it was working at my church, whether it's just, customer service. And then, whatever the case is, I've always been helping people in some way, shape, or form. And so as I started to feel like I needed to explore this new idea of healing, I ignored it for a while because I didn't have a choice. And it was actually at 2 separate private group parties where I was stopped in my tracks because one lady from across the room during a group reading said to me, they want to know when you're going to start, when you're going to go take the Reiki courses. And I was like, what? Like, she totally caught me off guard and totally threw me off my game. And then another time I was getting private readings at a private party, and this lady started reading me during her reading. I was like, oh, okay. And that was like the last push to say, okay, I hear you. I'm going to look into this. And I did know my master, who is Melanie Rimkus. She is one of the most amazing people on the face of this earth. I did know her from early on when I first started to mentor and to really get a hold of this chaos of my life as a medium. But she is the one that I did take all of my courses through and then mastered with her. And she's a very good friend, and she's just a wonderful Reiki master, healer, astrologer, and just medium, all around good person. And it's just wonderful. And the nice thing about Reiki healing, for those who don't know, is that, it benefits the person giving it as much as it benefits the person who's receiving it. I do practice traditional, and I'm going to screw up the name because I can never say it. It's Maikausui Oroyo. I can never say it. I'm so sorry. But it's a traditional Japanese, way of doing it. There's a westernized version that is taken over. But yes, Reiki is actually recognized, at least by New York State. So when I practice it, I do have a certificate that shows that I am qualified to do it, and I do have to have insurance. And there is insurance for that to cover you. And it's awesome. You lay on a table, just I'm a massage table, but I just don't touch you. Well, when you're trained properly, you do lay hands lightly on somebody, but you're not manipulating their tissues and things like that, like a massage therapist would. But I don't ever really touch anybody ever. I just give it without ever having to really touch you.
Right.
I can also extract energy, which is not a part of Reiki. It's just something else that it's a part of me and what I'm supposed to do. And I actually have guides that work with me on that level. So it's quite interesting, but it's very restful. You can use it for, go just because you want, make it part of a spa day to rest and relax. You can, they've actually shown medically and clinically that it does help with cancer patients receiving radiation, chemotherapy, that kind of thing. It really works in conjunction with anything, whether it's just, chronic, whether it's, long-term, short-term, it doesn't really matter, no matter what the issue is. It's amazing. You feel very, very good and very relaxed.
Somebody wanting to know more about it or get interested in it, do you believe that they need, how do I want to put it? I mean, can anybody do this? Or
yes.
do you believe that they should already, how should I say, have special abilities or gifts?
No. Nope, not at all. Actually, that's a very good question. A lot of people wonder that. When I took my level 1 and 2, I was the only medium in my class. The majority were nurses. There were 1 or 2 spa owners who just wanted to expand their practice, because Reiki, anybody can learn it. You can go and you can be attuned with level 1 and 2. And most people do it simply so they can work on themselves and other people, like their friends or their family. Level 3 is really just mastering, starting to go to that deeper level. And it's more of a business side of things. Being a master, all that means is that we are qualified to teach it and to attune other people. We've received the symbols, we've received the attunement that allows us then pass that on to other people and then, attune them. So anyone can do it. You only really need levels 1 and 2 to be able to be a Reiki practitioner. And anybody who's a healer in life is anybody who is called to a service or vocation of service to others. So you're talking military, police, fire, spa owners, salon owners, nurses, healthcare, whatever the case is, customer service people, anyone that takes care of others to make them feel good not for their own benefit, really for the good of, everyone else. And so anyone can do this.
Yeah, that was my next question, the motivation behind it. So it is basically to be able to help other people is their primary goal. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Now, as far as Kristie, let me get in here real quick. As far as the practice itself, it comes from overseas, correct? I mean, as far as where it derived from?
Japanese, yeah.
Initially,
Japanese?
Yeah, initially, yes. But then it was brought here, I believe, I want to say, again, it's been so long, 1922.
Now, getting involved as far as
the traditional version.
Okay, as far as the syllabus goes on for Reiki, I'm just asking, is chakras, your center core, your energy, your inner core, your center core, chakras, vibration, frequencies, any of that entailed as far as this goes too, or?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, we can clear and align your chakras. And for people who don't know what chakras are, they're like, picture little spinning wheels attached to every major system of your body that keeps you alive. And there's 7 points. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've heard of, now I don't do it personally, but I've heard of some Reiki even incorporating crystals. I don't know if that's something you've done but.
I do.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's cool.
Yes, I've actually taken an advanced Reiki course with Melanie a couple of years ago. I actually went on a retreat. And, you learn other techniques, how to use light and use crystals and stones and things like that, because stones and crystals are huge, as far as, even especially with mediums or people who are already, in the metaphysical field, because they know the value and what they can do and how important they are and how helpful and healthy they are. And, it's actually quite amazing, and it's cool to hear or see when I put a crystal or a stone on somebody, what the reaction is or what they tell me afterwards, how they felt,
Yeah, that's cool.
No, does this actually, I'm going to ask this because a long time ago, I lost feeling in my leg, but years ago I lost, I couldn't even lift my foot, and I actually went under acupressure and acupuncture. A student of mine told me I was about to see a neurologist, she said, you need to gave me a business card. You need to go see these people. Well, I'm very skeptic. I'm all about surgery, and all that. I mean, I didn't want to do it, but I said, okay, you know what? I'll check it out. She was an elderly lady, one of my students. And I watched this lady at 80 years old be able to walk. I mean, where she lost almost all of her leg capacity. But anyway, so I did go, and they gave me different herbs, teas, things to that nature. But they were actually practicing what I come to find out, as far as your inner balance of your, as far as your chakras, your chi, all this was involved with the acupuncture and acupressure. And they started teaching me every time I'd come, I'd go weekly, every week. And finally, it's a beautiful thing. I never had to have a neurologist. I never had to have surgery. All of a sudden I could lift my foot, and it was all through all that. But I mean, is that a common practice for acupuncture, acupressure to be implemented into that?
Absolutely. And you'll find that even if they're not aware of it, a lot of massage therapists, a lot of PT, OT people, they're all healers as well. And they're all practicing some form of Reiki. Like I said, there's so many modems and different ways of healing and different, techniques and, labels and titles to it all,
There really is. There's people even out there practicing Tai Chi, you know what I'm talking about. Yoga, meditation. If they would expound on that, man, it's
and
definitely.
They're already, oh, I'm sorry. It was hard to hear you. I thought you stopped talking.
Oh, no. Oh, I did.
Oh, okay. It must have been a crackle or something. I thought I cut you off. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's a lot of people incorporate that into their practices of healing in some way like this, and they don't even realize it, but some do, and they incorporate it. Reiki is something that does have to be, you are supposed to ask permission. There are lines and boundaries. There are ethics to it. But, if you feel someone ever needs it, what you're always taught is that, you can send it to their soul and lay it at the foot of their soul. And when their soul is ready and willing, then they can pick it up, and it's there when they want or need it, which is beautiful. But yeah, no, you're right. I know lots of massage therapists, especially, who incorporate, all of that.
Well, you know what I find really interesting, and I know it intertwines actually with the Bible when Jesus talked about intercession, and what you just said, basically it's like sending out healing, praying for healing, ministering angels, whatever you want to call them. But actually the Bible, when it refers to interceding for a loved one, is because, number one, you are an empath because you're feeling their pain, or there's something not right in their life. And I have the same gift. The Bible calls it discerning of spirits, but it's also in the world term empath. We're empathetic. We can literally feel people's pains. We can also feel when they're happy. It's like I can walk into a room and I can pick up on what you're feeling, or I can pick up if you're hurting. Yeah. My wife can call me and I can just tell by the inflection of her voice that quick, and also just not just the tone, but yet the mood behind that tone. Either she's upset or she's very sad or she had a bad day, whatever. But the implementation of using intercession makes me wonder, a lot of people look at Jesus as, he was just religious. Well, number one, Jesus wasn't man-made religion. There's a lot to Jesus a lot of us don't know. And I can't help but think, because that's overseas, that when he talks about meditation, when he talks about the laying of hands, not to be quick to do it either. Right. It kind of sounds like Reiki, but it's also about the body and the power of the faith and the love of your mind to be able to control your body. And it's like the woman, your faith has made you whole. Doesn't that tell us that if we get our mind right, free your mind and the rest will follow? I mean, instead of looking at the industry of medical, okay, what if people were to really, really about to be catching on to something really beautiful here that, I gotta say screw pharmaceutical, but I will say they're a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Still need that. We're human.
I don't think they want us to know the power of the mind, the power of the energies, that we're all made of energy, not to mention, third water. Right. But what if this is something getting more and more popular, which I'm with Brett, it is getting more and more popular. What if this just kind of blows the whole pharmaceutical, BS out the window? What do you think? Think we're onto something?
I think, no, absolutely. And I'm totally on the same page as you. But as human beings, we definitely need spiritual, and we need the medications that we have been able to, sometimes, but they're overused. And that's where, just like everything else, it gets bastardized, right? So it's a good thing. And it's an awesome blessing, but then it gets misused and blown out of proportion. So we definitely need both, but you're absolutely right. Because what happens? What's the core of everything? No matter what you practice as a religion, no matter how spiritual you are not, no matter what your background is, what culture you come from, walks of life, I don't care. There's one thing that it comes down to. That is our intention behind our action, our thought, or our feelings. It all comes down to your intention. So just like when we were given, like this example, I think in my level 1, when your child falls and gets hurt, or when you crack your elbow on something, what's the first thing you do? You cover it up with the other hand,
your
right?
Whole body
to make it feel better. Yep. Exactly. And you're covering it up. You're laying hands on yourself. And, Reiki circles, we used to do something like that at my old office for a while too, Reiki sharing. I always describe them to people just to give them an idea of what they can compare it to. It's like a Catholic healing mass. We're going to gently lay hands on somebody, and you don't have to be attuned to anything because you have a master who's opening it and closing the session, but you can set your intentions, and now you're going to see what you're capable of. And it's a beautiful experience. It's a wonderful experience for everybody. It's just so good, but it comes down to your intentions. Same with the mediumship, the same with the psychic ability. It's all the same. But you can also take that and you can make it a negative and put a negative spin on it if your intentions are not what they should be as well.
Right. Well, hey, while we got you on here, when you want to tell everybody, because this is fascinating, do you want to tell everybody where they can find you at?
Absolutely. So I am all over the place. You can find me on Facebook. I have a few pages, actually. I have a public page And you can find me with that page, Kristie London, Medium and Reiki Master. Actually, the public page, I stand corrected, is just my name, Kristie London, and then in parentheses, it says public page, so you can't miss it. But then I do have a business page, Kristie London, Medium and Reiki Master. So please go on and like that page for me. I am on YouTube. I am on Instagram, and that is Blue Eyed Empath. I have a website, blueeyedempath.com. What else? I am also the co-host of a live show podcast, and now we're also on Strum TV called Where's My Sage? A Taste of the Universe, and I do that show with my wonderful, awesome partner, Mike. He is a Bigfoot guy, so he is the owner and founder of Tactical Bigfoot Research. Yeah, he's awesome. I couldn't find a better partner. And together we marry both of our fields, and then we explore the other stuff together. And actually, when you mentioned Tai Chi, Mike does practice that as well. So, people in the metaphysical and just human beings in general, we bring so much to the table, energy-wise, that we don't even realize that make us, we're human beings, but we're souls. We're not, the body is a shell. At the end of the day. And you're right, it's all about the energy and the intention and the spirituality behind it, and that drives everything else in this life. So we have a foundation to work from, if that makes sense. So you can also find us on Facebook at Where's My Sage. We are on YouTube at Where's My Sage as well. And our show airs every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we have all different, it's a taste of the universe. We literally try to encourage people to get up and to get out and explore the world and learn about themselves and what they're capable of and open their eyes. We don't want to try to convince anybody to look, feel, think a certain way. We just want you to figure out what's right for you and what it's all about. And, you can't know unless you experience different things. And that's really important. But, so we have guests on there, much like you, but I also do reading shows. And actually this Tuesday night, I will be doing a reading show where I take questions from the audience and I answer those for 2 hours. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. We travel and we go to different places and we do investigations and we go live. We're actually going to be at Gettysburg. The third week of August. Yeah, we're going for the Gettysburg Bash, which is going to be great. We're a part of the WLFE DV radio station. Love it. It's great. We are all over, just like you. You can find us on, every platform: Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, Spreaker, and everything that comes with it. All the little different. I don't know. Mike handles that part of it. We're on so many now. It's just wonderful. We're very blessed in that way. And then the last weekend of August, we are actually going to be at the Michigan Paracon. So we're really looking forward to that as well.
That's cool. Yeah, to piggyback on your show there, Where's My Sage? Taste of the Universe. Just to piggyback on somebody's question, and so that is your current TV project coming up. That's the big one. What's currently going on?
No, so that's our show. That's mine and Mike's baby. So I'm actually working on a project with a different group of people because we do have our own things that we do as well. Mike was actually just on Seth Breedlove's Bigfoot: The Journey, which has come out on DVD and Amazon and YouTube, and it's all over on Facebook. So we each have our own projects, and right now what I'm working on is a new show called When Darkness Falls. And we go to different locations and we do walkthroughs and we investigate. We investigate different locations, and it's so much fun. And the people I work with, I've known for a bunch of years myself now. And so we get along real well, and it's just.
That'll be something completely different. Nothing to do with the movie that they made back in the 2000s, or When Darkness Falls.
Oh, I'm not aware. Yeah, this is something very different. This is actually, in the 2000s. Oh, yeah, no. This is
that was a good movie.
Show, and actually, it will air. Hopefully, he's hoping by late summer, early fall. Okay. Season 1 will air. We've been all over and had quite some experiences, so it'll be very interesting. You'll be able to find that on the Fire Stick on Quasm.
Awesome. Okay.
Nice.
The old movie space for those who are familiar.
How about any
all of our listeners out there? Y'all be
shows?
ready.
Any you watch?
Oops, sorry, I wrote that.
I'm just trying to field the questions here, backing up here. Do you watch any paranormal TV shows currently? And would you recommend any?
I do, but I don't. I always love My Haunted House. I watch anything really on the Travel Channel, on Discovery, and all those different shows. I watch a little bit of all of them for the most part. There's some I don't, but I'd rather not say. But yeah, I do. It's hard. I don't live on them like I used to, now that it's so much a part of my own daily life.
Well, you've been on a few of them shows, though.
But there's a lot of good ones out there. What's that?
I said you've been on a few of them shows too, though.
Yeah, I was on Destination Fear. So season 1, guys, go to the Buffalo Statler. Yep, that was City Hotel, and then you'll find me. And actually, I did the interview. I was not in the investigative part of it. I was actually interviewed beforehand to talk about experiences, and I found it was really cool too because they asked me to work with, going back to our earlier conversation about, protecting and people just kind of jumping into it. Chelsea and Alex and Dakota and Tanner are wonderful, and they're just so laid back and normal and down to earth. But like a lot of investigators, they don't know how to protect or why it's so important. And so I was actually asked by the producers to teach them what to do and how to do it going forward, because it does wear on you and it will suck your energy, and, things can attach, and, it can make you sick if you don't know what you're doing. And it's just, it was an honor for me to be asked to do that, to take my expertise, but my season, a little bit of my seasoning, and sprinkle it over, and share the wealth. So that was really neat, because I do mentor people as well.
Well, we're definitely going to keep in touch with you, because it sounds like you got a lot of good stuff coming, a lot of big stuff. So y'all stay tuned. Kristie London is going to be involved in some major stuff coming up. Yeah, we're baiting you right now. So we can't give it all to you because he's under contract, but we will definitely say, be prepared and get ready. It's going to be awesome. So y'all keep an eye on Kristie London and her crew. So I think you got a heck of a big team, because you got all these different platforms. Somebody's got to be running all that media, and plus you're doing all these other different things. Good Lord, unless you cloned yourself somewhere along the way, y'all must have a big team.
You know what? I have to say, it's all my partner Mike is amazing. He runs all of that, makes sure that everything is posted, and as far as our show goes, he and I do it, and and then with the other group that I work with the new show, we do it together, and it's amazing. I work with a lot of really great people, and I'm very lucky and very blessed on that level.
You want to give a shout out to Mike and some of them beautiful people that you work with?
Oh, absolutely. So my partner Mike, and check him out, Tactical Bigfoot Research. Also Bigfoot the Journey, Small Town Monsters, Bigfoot the Journey, Seth Breedlove, that's his baby. There's Tom and Kat at Enlightened Paranormal, and Nate as well.
Speaking of him too, I know we were talking about maybe getting him on the show at a later date. So we'll everybody, Bigfoot.
Yeah, we'll be in touch on that one.
Oh, Mike? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mike.
He's got
probably in August.
And he's involved in lots of different, experiences. He has his hands. He is affiliated with a lot of different groups, and all over different states, and different people. So yeah, he has his own, and then he works with others, just like I do.
Yeah,
well, Kristie, if you wouldn't mind, let Mike know to get in touch with me, or I'll get in touch with him real soon, because in August, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do a whole month of cryptozoology. For those of you who don't know what the term cryptozoology, it is Bigfoot. It is the Loch Ness Monster. It's the Jersey Devil. It's the Chupacabra. It's whatever you can imagine. All that is going to be coming. And hopefully, God, man, maybe we can get Mike on here. Tell him we would like to invite him. We would love to have him.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm sure he'd love to be on, for sure. I'll make sure his schedule's clear.
Okay.
There you go. So, Kristie, another question from Doug. He wants to know, do you have any advice on the best way to deal with grief of a past loved one?
Oh, good question.
That's hard. That's really hard. There's no magical answer. I just lost my dad at the end of November, And I don't ever think I'll be over that. My dad and I were very close. I still cry about it, and I know it's still newer, but I even though you continue to move forward, not on, but forward, I feel like, and I think everyone's different. I think the connection you have is different with everybody who passes. And I think you just have to give yourself the time to do what you need to do, but also listen to the people that really and truly love you and care about you. Unfortunately, sometimes we do get caught in a trap of depression, and we kind of dig ourselves in a hole we don't realize. So, always get help if you need it, professional help, talk to your pastor or your priest or whoever, or your friends and your family, people that you trust if they're noticing things, listen to them, but I don't think there's any, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what to say to that other than just,
I think you're right.
And pray and just, yeah.
I think everybody deals with it in their own way. I know, obviously from experience, when I lost my mom, I didn't get help or anything, but I knew that time healed it. It's never easy, but I'm being honest when I say it was worse 5 years ago than it is now. So I don't know if it's any consolation to anyone, but
and can I just add to what I'm actually seeing for you, Doug, is that you write it down, write your feelings down, get your feelings out on paper. And I also feel like music is important to you. Let that be your therapy.
Well, who was that asked that question, Brett? Doug?
Yeah, Doug. Yeah.
Well, let me elaborate a little for you, Doug. I mean, I don't know it all either, but lost my dad when I was 16 years old. And me and my dad were so tight. But to add to what these two just said, what Brett's right, and so is Kristie. It's something you're never going to get over. I promise you that. But the beautiful thing about it is time will go by, but there is a time for mourning. So right now, that sadness, embrace it. Go ahead and cry, because let all that sorrow out. Crying just kind of like pain. It's weakness leaving your body. But no, it ain't a weakness to cry. That's just your inner emotion saying, you know what? I really loved that human being. I love that person. And even the Bible says there's a time for mourning. Okay, so go ahead. You have your moment. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. I don't care if it was, you're macho, then lose your machoism. Because I, honest to God, didn't cry at my dad's funeral, but afterwards, when I got alone, I let it rip. And I felt so relieved when I just let it out. I even got angry. Do whatever you got to do, but don't, go out in the middle of somewhere, brother. Scream at to the roof, scream to the heavens. But know that one thing, life never ends, because life is energy. Spirit never dies. Your dad, mom, or whoever it was you lost is always going to be a part of you. Why? Because of the memories, because of the good things you guys spent together. I carry my dad with me every day of my life, and I'm about to be 55, and I lost him at 16. My dad, through all the nurturing and the teaching and training, that will always be with me. So whatever memories you have that are beautiful, hang on, embrace that. But right now, a time of mourning. Go ahead, buddy. Forget macho, cry, scream, do whatever you got to do, but let it get out of you or it'll eat you alive. Just get it all out of you.
Sorry,
God bless you. And we're sorry for your loss, brother. We're sorry for your loss.
Can I just throw something else in there?
Sure.
I also feel like you might, I think you did lose somebody, Doug, but I also feel like you're not necessarily talking about the grief you feel when someone dies. I think you're also talking about the grief of a loss of some sort.
Oh, yeah.
And what I'm being told to tell you is that you need to cut the ties and you need to finally move on once and for all. We forget that we can grieve, the living. We can grieve a situation. We can grieve, it doesn't necessarily mean that someone's passed. Although there's a huge female, not huge like a big woman, but like I'm picking up greatly on a female energy that I do feel like you lost that you're having a hard time with. But I feel like you connect with you're a hardcore empath, my dear. You need to find somebody in your area that can help you learn about that and learn how it works for you and learn to get that under control. And then you won't always struggle with grief as much either. It's not that it goes away, but you will be able to handle it in ways that you can't right now, and it will mean something different. Therefore, it will change naturally on its own, and you'll deal with it differently. But yeah, you have a hard time cutting the cord and breaking connections, but you really need to do that, especially now. You have to stop hanging on. So hopefully that makes sense to you.
So Doug says thank you. And Doug, for the record, if you have any questions after the show, Kristie, one more time, you want to give everyone your contact information? You said you are on Facebook,
Sure.
among other places.
Sure. Yeah. And my phone number is listed there too. You can call me. You can text me. You can find me at Facebook, Kristie London public page, Kristie London Medium and Reiki Master, which is my business. You can find me at Where's My Sage. You can find me at faithloveandlight@gmail.com. BlueLightEmpath.com is my website.
Okay, hold on. I ran out of paper.
You can find me all over.
No. You
It's
need a
all
notebook
online,
for that. Need a notebook for
It's all
that.
online.
I'm glad I took my boots off and put my sneakers on. I got to run and keep up with this. Good Lord, that's a heck of a... Whew. Oh, my goodness, lady. You are busy. We're going to have to get you cloned. That's it. Oh, my God.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes left. So, Jerry, what else? We got about, 4 minutes?
Wow. Yep, there it goes, man. An hour just gone. Gone with the wind. Well, just like we said, Kristie, it always flies. Well, hey, sweetheart, thank you for coming on. And, man, I'll tell you what, I learned a lot tonight. And the way you word things is so beautiful because you make it very simple for people to understand. You know, it is all about energy. But I really love the fact that maybe we can share this with our audience out there. Y'all, if you just love yourself and love your neighbor, that's that energy we're all talking about. We're all in this together. You know, if you're good and kind, your intentions are real. Hey, you know what? What's wrong with living a life of helping people? What a better way to spend your time on this planet. You were created to do something spectacular. You know, find out what that is. You know, you have an occupation. You have a job. Okay, so you're a librarian. You're a doctor. You're, whatever you are. I don't know. You're a truck driver. I don't care. But why were you put here? So you got to find your purpose. And I think that's a beautiful thing. What you just shared, that's what I call purpose. The reason you were put here, not just to work a measly job. No, there's a greater purpose in life, ladies and gentlemen. It's called serving people, loving yourself and loving your neighbor. And you brought that out so great tonight. Thank you so much for that. That was just awesome. Awesome.
Oh, you guys are great. Thank you. It was very nice talking with you. I really appreciate you having me on.
Oh, man, it was our pleasure. We're going to have you again, believe me.
Absolutely.
I would love to be back.
Oh, we'd love to have you. Well, we would definitely be doing that. Well, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to do it, but it is that hour, man. It done flew and went, come and gone. Brett, wow, what a great show, wasn't it?
Yeah, good show. I appreciate having you, Kristie. Yeah, very informative. We have not had anyone on Reiki Master before. I'm not even against having you on in the future. Talk about crystals a little bit, but I'll leave that for Jerry. Definitely get a Bigfoot host on in the future, I hope, because I've always been a fan of Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, everybody, yeah, Kristie London, if you have any questions, feel free to hit her up. Definitely check out her show, Where's My Sage? Taste of the Universe out there. And keep in mind, everybody, we are here for every Friday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern on Paranormal King Radio. I want to give a shout out to Ross Raposo, his network, giving us a home here. Jerry, Kristie, that's all I have, everybody. Jerry, go ahead and take us out.
All right, I'm going to take us out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening in. We appreciate everybody that was in the chat room. Doug, again, brother, get through it, buddy. You'll get there. We're sorry for your loss and our condolences to you. And anybody else out there, if you lost somebody, it's time to mourn. It's okay. But go on with your life and knowing the courage that you will see that person again one day. Maybe not in that body, but spirit. Meanwhile, we're going to get out of here. We're here every Friday night doing this at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we're going to carry on the tradition and bring aboard another amazing guest. And next month, as we were talking earlier, going to get into crypto zoo, all that. It'll be a whole month dedicated to Bigfoot and everything else. But meanwhile, that's all we've got this week. Thank you again for all of our listeners. God bless each and every one of you. Love yourself. Love your neighbor. Carry on. Take care. Peace out. We'll see you on the other side next week.
Bye-bye.